Welcome to Diamond Niners Weekly, week 13 of the 2021 season. We are live on YouTube late on a Thursday night talking about your nationally ranked Charlotte 49ers baseball team. As always, this is Nick, joined by Kevin.
What's up, Niner Nation?
Producer Brad.
Hey.
And soon to be Coach Woody. The boys are off the field. You're not going to be stuck with just us. We promise. Practice has ended about half an hour ago, and they are on their way back. We've heard from Woody. He's going to get to the hotel, get checked in, get settled in, and then dial in, and we'll bring him on as soon as possible. So until then, you're kind of stuck with us, but we'll get Coach Woody in here for you just as soon as he's ready to go. We appreciate everybody tuning in. If you're listening live, go ahead and chime in. Hey, we kind of need some things to talk about for a few minutes. So if you're listening live, what you got? Because we kind of need to fill some space here. I mean, we got some stuff, but whatever you want to talk about is probably better than whatever we're going to say anyway. So go ahead and chime in the chat function. Say hello. Also hit us up on Twitter during the show. Go ahead and say hello. It makes this even more fun than it already is. So, all right, boys. We got a big weekend of Charlotte 49ers baseball ahead of us. We had a big weekend last weekend, 4-game sweep over Marshall, senior day and graduation day, festivities on Saturday and Sunday. Pretty cool weekend at the Hayes.
Yep, and the boys continue to get national recognition again this week. As we look at the polls for this week, I know Woody doesn't like to talk about this, so we'll talk about it when he's not.
Hey, yeah, let's talk about all the polls before Woody gets here.
And projections
and projections and all that stuff.
So yeah, Baseball America has us at 18th. National Collegiate Baseball Writers Association had us at 18th as well. Perfect Game had us at 18th. That's 3 at 18. USA Today Coaches Poll had us at 20th. D1 Baseball Poll had us at 20th, and Collegiate Baseball had us at 24 in the country. So lots of national attention. I'm going to get into projections now. I guess.
Let's go ahead. Let's do it. So we don't have to apologize for talking about it.
D1 Baseball had us projected as a 2 seed in the Tallahassee Regional, going down to Florida State. They were the 16 overall seed. So that tells me that we're the 2 seed in that regional. It tells me that we were pretty close to the host line in their projections. And then in Baseball America, they actually had us projected as hosting in Charlotte, hosting a regional as the 14 overall seed. So definitely exciting to talk about this time of year. Excited to be in the mix. Exciting to be in the mix as far as projections in the tournament, at large bids, and hosting. We haven't talked about that at all in a long time, as far as being a projected regional host. So very exciting stuff.
Yeah, it is great stuff. We've got some, and we've got some folks chiming in. So Feet Davis, what's up, Feet? Good to have you. Jimmy Touchstone, what's up, Jimmy? Brian McGowan says we are Gastonia bound, which we talk about that in a second. So the story is that NCAA is supposed to put out a list of 20 potential sites for hosting 20, and 16 of those 20 will wind up hosting the. And Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, is always on top of things, says this list should be coming out like tomorrow morning. So we might be just like hours away from this 20 name list coming out. And the latest thing that was reported by Kendall, who again is usually really on top of things, that our bid, Charlotte's bid, included using the new ballpark in Gastonia, the home of the Honey Hunters. That's a brand new ballpark in downtown Gastonia. So it sounds like maybe we're involved with the ballpark in Gastonia. Kevin, I'm going to let you shoot on that. I got to be honest with you. I got mixed feelings, but I mean, what do you say?
Well, it'd be great to host. I mean, I'll be excited if we're hosting. There's a Charlotte regional. I'll be excited about it, no matter where we're playing. And like I told you, Gastonia is a lot closer than Tallahassee, a lot closer than Oxford, Mississippi. All of our fans can be there. Our players sleep in their own beds. So, yeah, it would be nice to host at the Hayes, but I understand some of the difficulties there. Hosting in Gastonia will be the next best thing, I think, and we definitely have a home field advantage, home crowd at least. A lot of our family and friends could go see the Niners, and it's a little bit bigger ballpark, so put a few more eyes on the program.
Yeah, and we were looking at this earlier today, and we were talking about this. I think, what were the numbers, Kevin? I think that it was 5,000 capacity. That's what Brian's saying in the chat, 5,000 capacity. But seats was like, was it 1,800 seats, and the rest of that is either suites or picnic areas, or I think you have a beer garden or rail standing room only, whatever. I think was what got you to the 5,000. I mean, hey, I know I'm with you. Okay, I totally get it. I mean, that's if it's, do we go on the road as a 2 seed to Tallahassee, or could we host in Gastonia? Well, let's host in Gastonia. It just you know, when you first hear that, you go, Gastonia, okay. But hey, I mean, I see you laughing, producer Brad. I mean, I'm just being real here. I'm not pulling any punches. I'm just telling you, it's like, I mean, on the upshot, okay. Here's the deal. One, if we're hosting, that's fantastic. Okay, there's no negative to that. And two, you know, I mean, there's Tony's ice cream in Gastonia. I'll be going over there to get some Tony's ice cream before we go to the Hayes, and probably after, or sorry, the Hayes. What is that? What is the name of that ballpark? What are they calling that thing?
Fuse. They call it Fuse.
Yeah. So we'll be going to Tony's for ice cream before going to the Fuse ballpark, and then I'm sure we'll probably, you know, after a victory, going to get some more ice cream. I mean,
no, I'm thinking that's old Rob Dibble's neck of the woods. I think we'll be doing maybe a little tailgating prior and post and between. If we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, which is natural for us, but
that's what we do. If Rob, and for those of you who don't know, Rob Dibble's the guy that drives the Normulance, and he lives in Belmont. Mark Cologne lives in Belmont. So Belmont's where all the respectable people live in Gaston County, apparently. And Rob, the respectable people, and Rob. And I'm sure we could get the Normulance over to Gastonia. It'd be a short trip. Now, Jimmy Touchstone is saying that he was banned from cruising through downtown Gastonia in high school, and he hopes the statute of limitations has run out on that. Jimmy, what were you doing? I think what you were doing would depend whether or not the statute of limitations has run out. You know, oh yeah, depending on what you were doing is whether or not the statute of limitations. Brian McGowan's back. He's exactly right. 3 years ago, we would have been happy to host a regional in Guam. Absolutely. I mean, I would be up for a trip to Guam, actually. I mean, that'd be cool. Why not? Oh, and Jimmy is from Belmont too. So there you go. Yeah.
Speaking of Jimmy, got to give him a shout out on the baseball cards that he designed. Those 1981 Topps replica Niner edition. Those are very sweet. And if you missed that, check our Twitter feed. We retweeted it, and he did a fantastic job creating some baseball cards for all the Niners and the coaching staff to look like the 1981 Topps set. Fantastic work.
Yeah, go check that out. Brian says we're getting spoiled because it's me, Brian. I'm the one wincing over Gastonia. It's me, and I shouldn't. I apologize, but it's too late. I can't take it back. I already did it. But still, hey, we're hosting. Yes, Guam included. We'll do it. I tell you what, let's start talking about last weekend a little bit, because there's a couple things to bring up here, non-baseball related, which frankly, the important stuff. It was really cool to see not only the families come together this weekend to recognize the graduates and the seniors. It was also cool to see not only Mike Hill, but Chancellor Gaber come out to the ballpark on Saturday to recognize the guys on the team that graduated. So, and we all get, speaking of being spoiled, we all get wrapped up in this, certainly me included, about baseball and wins and losses. But in the middle of that, we still have to remember that these guys are here in school. They're getting an education. And for a lot of these guys, well, for anybody, that's a transformative kind of thing in terms of your life. Getting credit towards a college diploma, then ultimately getting a college diploma. So, the guys that were honored on Saturday, graduates, Todd Elwood, Colby Bruce, Carson Johnson, Jackson Boss, Ryan Shanskowski, Jacob Whitley, Andrew Roach, Trey Starnes, Nick Turnbull, Matt Brooks, Craig Keuchel. Those are UNC Charlotte graduates. So they have more in common with the three of us now than just Charlotte baseball. We all graduated from the same school. So pretty cool. That's that means something. Coming back on Sunday, we had senior day, recognizing Todd, Carson, Nick, Ryan, and Craig as seniors. So really just all the way around, Kevin, cool weekend. I always love that weekend every year because it's a reminder that this is about more than just baseball.
Yeah, I always love to see the picture of the coach with the graduating seniors, and they put that on the lead story for the story that day. It's pretty neat to see. And we plan on doing a full all-out senior show next week, more than likely, and get Woody to talk about all these guys in more in depth. But we just wanted to touch on that, the pregame ceremony stuff from last week. It was really cool to see, like I said, Chancellor and athletic director, and I'm glad they could put on a graduation performance or ceremony for our players, since they are in Houston right now, and graduation is going on campus or commencement tomorrow, I believe. And they had one ceremony today, I believe, right?
I think you're right. They've split it up. They're doing it at the football stadium, which was really kind of cool. Hadn't seen the additional stands at Jerry Richardson Stadium since they put them up the app game, right? Had the extra
right when we hosted.
Yeah, we hosted app. So they put up the temp stands over there. Kind of really changes the look of the football stadium. So that's something to look forward to when we expand the football stadium. But really cool to, it reframes the entire your entire perspective of the stadium there. So it's cool to see that. But yeah, I guess they started may have started today, Friday and Saturday. So
I may be mistaken. I think tonight might have been the 2020 folks that came back.
I think you might be right. They offered the folks last year, the May 2020 folks, the opportunity to come back. Well, I guess May and December, the people from the commencements that would have happened the last two semesters. So good call on the university, by the way, to go back and let those people give those people the opportunity to do that. So really cool stuff. Awesome to see so many people getting the opportunity to kind of have their moment, and congratulations to all the graduates out there. So really cool stuff. So that was going on out at the Hayes. And then we had this 4-game series. We talk a little baseball. We'll get Woody's perspective when he gets in here. Kind of Kevin, would you call it, am I okay calling it a potential trap weekend where you're bringing in a team that had shown that it could win some games? They split in Ruston with Louisiana Tech. On paper, a team you were supposed to beat, but still, that's why they're traps. And the Niners did what they needed to do, and took care of business and got 4 wins.
Yeah, they like you said, they did exactly what they needed to do. They got behind in a couple games, and then bounced back. They always responded. Uh, every time they were down, they came back authority, and it wasn't the same person every time. It was multiple guys getting it done, both on the mound and at the plate. Um, that show that resilience that they've shown all year um, in these conference games. It's, it's tough to sweep a team 4 games, no matter who you are. You playing 4 straight games on a weekend. Um, you're only so Teams are only so deep on the pitching mound, and the weather's starting to get a little warm too. It's tough. It's tough to win 4 games, and the Niners have. I think we was swept 4 series this year.
Yeah. We haven't we didn't sweep Western Kentucky, and we didn't sweep UTSA. Those were 3-1s. Those were series that we won but didn't sweep. And then Old Dominion.
Right. But yeah, like I said, it's tough to get those 4 games sweeps. I'll be glad to be back to 3-game series. I'm guessing next weekend against UNC Wilmington is a 3-game set. It's going to be odd.
That's scheduled for 3 games, so see what happens there. But that series would be 3. I'm not going. I hope the conference keeps the division play. I hope they keep the division play. I hope they do away with the 4-game. I think the East-West format is beneficial. But I think we could do without the 4-game weekends.
Right. I totally agree. I think after that first 4-game weekend, I was done with it. So I'm glad we're getting back to 3 next year. And yeah, the divisional thing is it works out. I mean, I like the fact that we've only made 2 plane trips this year. I guess 1.5 plane trips.
Yeah. Oh gosh, oh man, I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not even gonna say what I just thought. I almost said it.
No, let's move on.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna say that.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that they've only had to take 2 flights to play this year. We haven't had that before.
Yeah,
the regional conference thing, and they're in the regional division play. I like it.
That 4-game set is a long weekend at the ballpark for the fans. Imagine playing in 4. I mean, I think overall, if we're being honest, that conference, it's going to be good preparation for Conference USA schools for the postseason. But I think across the board, Conference USA programs probably a little tired right now.
I agree, and I think that's the reason that the conference put in that week off between the end of the regular season and the tournament. Some teams have scheduled games like we've scheduled UNC Wilmington. I think ODU is going down to La Tech for 2 games prior to the tournament. I'm not sure who else is hosting or playing games next week, but they left it up to the different institutions to decide if they wanted to play that week or just rest. So we'll see how it works out. I know every Conference USA team has been battle tested, and like I said, they are ready to go into a tournament, into a regional with pitching depth, playing 4 games on a weekend. What is it? They play 14. I don't know how many innings, but that's a lot of innings on a weekend. Yeah, it's too late for that.
Too late for all that.
Yeah.
Hey, so I don't know. My 3 Panthers is chiming in here. She says sweep. I don't know if she is celebrating last weekend's sweep or predicting this weekend's. Maybe both. I don't know. I'm sure she'll clarify here in a minute. But sweep. That's the message. And by the way, I mean, I'm for that. I'm for last weekend's sweep. I'm for this weekend's sweep if that happens. Whatever. I like it. Let's do it. We can talk a little bit about here's what I saw last weekend that I liked. Okay, let's do it this way. We saw performances from, of course, Austin Knight. Knight does his thing. he's almost talking about getting spoiled. Brian was talking about me getting spoiled with hosting sites. I think we've all gotten spoiled with Austin Knight because he's just raking, and it hardly even. I mean, you're just used to seeing it. He just does it and does it and does it. It just, it's like, oh yeah, okay, he did it again. Gino's been on fire. Gino stayed on fire. McKeithen,
Lou James.
Lou James, LG3. Thank you, LG3. It continues to just be impressive as all get out. McKeithen had another. I keep bringing McKeithen up as like a underrated or unsung hero. I don't know. Maybe I said it so much that he's not unsung anymore. But McKeithen has got the bat going in addition to his work behind the plate. So that's been great. But here's what caught my attention last weekend, Kevin. I'll let you chime in on this or offer your own. We're at that time of year where different guys, you need guys to emerge. And Trey Starnes started that in Chapel Hill, and he continued that this weekend. Trey Starnes got the start on Sunday, made a relief appearance before that, and then got the start on Sunday. Did the job in both cases. Nick Turnbull had been away for a while, or had not. Nick had not been on the mound for a while in live action. And suddenly there he is on Sunday. And I don't have it right in front of me. I just pulled the box score, but I mean, he was the key in the middle innings of that, where he just came in and shoved for like 4 innings. I mean,
4 innings
just out of nowhere.
baseball.
Yeah. I mean, he just can't, you bring a guy, it's senior day. He's a senior. You bring him out of the pen. He hasn't been in a game in a little while, in several weeks. And he just shoves, I mean, it's that time of year where people have got to do that if you're going to be successful, because we mentioned this last week. If you go down to Ruston or a regional, whether that regional is in Gastonia or Guam, when you get to the last day in Ruston or at the Air Force Base in Guam, it's not going to be your ace pitching. It's going to be Trey Starnes, Nick Turnbull. It's going to be somebody like that deeper in the mix that's going to have to go out there and get the job done for you. So it's great to see those guys doing that.
Yes, I totally agree. It's that time of year, like you said, guys stepping up, and like we mentioned, those 4-game weekends give you an opportunity to for those guys to see more critical innings in a weekend. I'm gonna shut up now. We got a special guest on the line. Coach, how's it going?
Hey guys.
Oh, you just saved the audience. They've been very kind, helping us out, offering us their own topics.
Yeah. What are we on? What are we on tonight, guys? Let's hear it.
Well, we're
talked about
projections
and rankings, all the good stuff.
Nice. So I'm coming
all that stuff that you say. I don't care about that. We've been talking about that.
Awesome.
So how are things in Houston?
They're great. We had a really good practice tonight. Probably our best practice of the week, and it's just good getting out there. And it's the first time I've been at Reckling Park here in Rice's campus since week 3 of my freshman year of college. So it's been 17 years since I've been here, and a lot of memories from that weekend here. And so it's cool.
All right, good deal. Well, we're gonna get you hopefully to bed here pretty quickly, because you guys, all of you, have got to be beat after the day and the flights and the practice and everything. So as always, we appreciate you making time to come in here and talk a little baseball. Why don't you just we were actually just kicking the can around a little bit here about Marshall and talking about some of the performances and people stepping up. Would you offer everybody your thoughts or your reflections from last weekend against Marshall?
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought we got some tremendous starts. And it was great seeing, obviously Bryce threw well, and I know defensively, I thought the first two games we kind of carried over from the previous weekend. And there were some miscues or some sitting back on balls that we should have gotten. But I told the team this at the end of the weekend. My overall thought was, and I think we all were in agreement, that our level of play picked up as the weekend went. Like, I thought our worst game was game 1, our next to worst game was game 2, our second best game was game 3, and I thought our best game, most complete game, was game 4 on the weekend. So, that's certainly promising from the standpoint that, typically on 4-game weekends, your gas tank runs down to empty, and I actually thought ours kind of filled up as it went. So I'm hoping that carries into this week, and it seemed like it tonight at practice, and the energy that we've had all week. So great seeing Spencer Giesing out there, getting his first collegiate start. I mean, gosh, punched out 11 hitters, and to have that, to give up a 3-run home run there, and then to basically look like you just took a punch to the face and didn't even feel it. For a true freshman was pretty cool. So, then, I think one of the highlights of the weekend was probably two guys, really. It was Trey Starnes closing it out. I think game 2, and then starting for us on game 4, just, 90 really important pitches between the 2 outings that he threw. And then Nick Turnbull's 4 hitless innings out of the bullpen, game 4, really put a stop on that game. And, it was just great to see. I thought Will Butcher swung the bat really well. Austin Knight was Austin Knight. Lou James was Lou James, and the offense did what it did. It strung things together, and our defense got better as the weekend went. Silo's one outing was electric. Morose's out of the bullpen was electric. So there's a lot of really promising things, I think, coming off of last weekend.
Yeah, good stuff. And, see if last weekend felt like it was just a very matter of fact, straightforward, take care of business weekend. There was a job to do. It wasn't necessarily flashy, or it was just very workmanlike. The guys kind of showed up, rolled up their sleeves, and did what they had to do in every instance. And it might not necessarily be highlight reel stuff every time, although Jake had did have that highlight catch out there in center field. But not necessarily always highlight plays, but it was just very, very yeoman, very workmanlike performance all weekend.
Well, that's, I think that's a sign of a good team. I think that's, a really good team is we can find multiple, various kinds of ways to win. We can get out front. We can come from behind. We can go more defensive. We can go more offensive. We can do it on the mound and get stronger in the bullpen as it goes. So, we're kind of pride ourselves in trying to be a Swiss Army knife and not a one-trick pony, I guess. And it's a credit to our guys because, we've got guys that it's usually not the same starting lineup every day. And we've got guys coming off the bench and roles and guys moving around. So, it was – the guys understand. The guys understand that they've worked extremely hard to be in the position that we're in. And, in a sense, I think they smell it a little bit and they want more of it. So they're hungry for it. So that's the vibe I get right now from our players.
Okay, Coach. So we kind of rearranged the show a little bit. We took some things out, and one of the things we took out was we just went without Ask Coach Woody this week. But there's only one thing that people want to know anyway. So we're just going to cut to the matter. Okay. In your baseball career,
oh God,
how many times have you ever witnessed an umpire threatening to search the inside of a player's pants on a baseball field?
This past weekend would have been the first, Nick. First time I've ever, I think, that's the first time I've ever seen it. So You know,
I mean, that is what happened. And he threatened to search his pants, didn't he? I mean,
well, he wasn't gonna search. You know, that actually, you know, I'll say this, and you guys, you know, will bring up umpires on occasion. I thought last week's umpires, Chris, Dave, and Thomas were the three best. I thought they were the three best umpires combined, the crew we've had the entire season. Great zones, really professional calls that went against us. You know, like where Spencer missed first base, he missed first base. You know, there's just, you know, that's. I thought they did a great job, but Thomas came up. You know, we got together like a couple innings later after that incident, and he said, Woody, what do you think we're supposed to do in that situation? Because they were like, I guess they came together and were talking about it afterwards. I said, honestly, just kind of what you guys did, just try to de-escalate it, and if he refuses to give it back, then you know we have other cards. Like it's not like we have one pitch calling card and we have other cards, so we would just never use that one again and call it a day. But not a big deal. You know, look, I'll say this about the incident. Players, you know, players are extremely competitive, and once they get in that competitive state, you know, whether you know our team, their team, like you know, it's just different. Like you know what I mean? Like they're at a different place mentally than the coaches and certainly the fans. And you know, I think their catcher was, you know, as much as I don't necessarily agree with it. I do understand the competitive, you know, will to win that he was, you know, trying to do. I guess so.
I'll say this, Woody. You've made a lot of people very happy because this was in a stadium. Like walking to the exit on Sunday, number one thing everybody's saying is you have got to get him to talk about that. What just happened? What in the world? And so for anybody that just quick recap for anybody that missed it, it's like, what in the world? Because if you didn't see it, you're like, what are these guys talking about? Basically, Jacob Whitley, while during his AB, ran to first and dropped his signal card, and it wound up on the ground. And the Marshall catcher picked it up and stuffed it down his pants. I mean, like down his pants. I swear, when he just stuffed it down his pants. And Jacob realized he didn't have it, came back and said to the guy, "Hey, I think you got my signal card." And he basically, from what I could tell, went, "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what lineup card or what signal card." Woody ended up having to come out and get involved. And the catcher was kind of playing coy, like, "Hey, it's not behind my chest protector. It's not here. It's not there." And then finally the umpire kind of cocked his head. People were literally yelling from the stands. I don't know if you could hear that, Woody, but yeah. People were in the stands yelling, "It's in his pants." And so finally the catcher agrees to give it back. And he was, folks, if you could see it, it wasn't like it's in my belt. I mean, he was forearm deep in his pants digging this thing out and hands it back to Whitley. He handed
it to me, and
he handed it to you. You're right.
I can assure you that I made a trip down the end of the dugout to hand sanitize. Yeah.
Well, that was my next thought. Was like, you just watched a guy go elbow deep in the front of his pants digging something out, and then he hands it to you, and then you're like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
Which was the whole thing, just and to which I said, he does realize that there are multiple sets of those, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. But there you go, folks. Y'all said he wouldn't talk about that, and he did. So there it is. We talked about.
Hey, if people are gonna, you know, if everyone's gonna stay up this late to listen to us talk about the games and program, and we're gonna be transparent. We're not holding back.
So you stayed up late and you got to hear about the time that the umpire threatened to search a guy's pants on a baseball field. So There you go. Yeah, Kevin, you didn't think we'd get that far, did you, Kevin?
I did not. I just enjoying the story here, man.
Okay.
Let's get on the Rice. Let's get on the Rice.
Yeah, let's go to Rice. That's all that, that sums up the weekend. That's a great way. That's a great spot to leave last weekend. 4-game sweep, took care of business, workmanlike effort. Going to need another one this weekend. So let's go to your Charlotte 49ers Grand Slam Club. Look at the week ahead. Big weekend, Coach. A lot on the line. Conference seeding, the East Championship, the number 1 seed in the league. The Niners have all of that right now. They have to keep winning to keep it. I think 1 win gets you the East. The number 1 seed in the tournament is a little more complicated. I think you got a 1.5 game lead with 4 to play. So that's going to take a little more time to shake out. But you've got a Rice team that's starting to kind of get it figured out and play its best ball of the year. But, you guys talk about whenever all season long, when we talk about, you always say, Nick, these are not the goals we talk about. These are not the goals we talk about. Well, winning the East, getting the number 1 seed, those are probably things you talk about, right?
Honestly, not really.
Oh, come on.
I mean, really, to be. I mean, the things we talk about is we want to play on, and you've heard me say it before. We want to play on ESPN in June. We want to win in June. So, we're still in May, but it's cool. What's cool is that the way we're playing. The way we played in April and March and February, and we're playing now, then we're putting ourselves in a position to do that. So I know it's but there's really not like we don't have it on a board like or anything anywhere else like let's win the East or let's win the regular season. It's honestly not like that. It's really just like trying to be as good as we can each and every day, which is boring, but that's honestly how we go about it.
You know what? You sold me.
Thanks.
You sold me. I'm on board. You got me. All right. So looks like where it is now, and there was maybe a slight error in a tweet we put out earlier today on starting rotation. But Coach, looks like you're going with pretty much the same setup from last weekend as far as McGowan, Giesing, and Lindsey, and spot 4 TBD.
Yeah, no, that's the plan. We're flipping. I think we're flipping Andrew and Goose, just going a little more right, left, right. We think we're gonna kind of want to see their lineup 3 times, 3 games, and then make a decision on kind of how we want to attack game 4. And also don't want to hold a pitcher back that we think that can help us win one of the first 3 games. Similar to Trey Starnes, right? Like if we had held Trey Starnes out for game 4 last weekend, we wouldn't have had him to help us win game 2. So, kind of similar approach this weekend.
And you said you guys were going to get to Morosis early out of the pen, and you did. I thought he pitched well in both of his appearances. You got to win in one of the games as well. So, how do you think he's adjusting to his, I guess, a newer role?
I mean, I love the way he looks coming out of the bullpen. I really do. I mean, he's got he's a little bit more of a sprinter versus a distance runner, and he's got kind of that coming right at you look to him. I just really liked it. He came in, he throwing 95-mile-an-hour turbo sinkers, and I know he botched that PFP, but after that, he was pretty darn good, and got a huge punch out second and third, I think, on a 94-mile-an-hour heater, and he was up to 96.6, basically 97 out of the pen, and I thought he looked great. It's going to be, I think, as we're getting closer and closer to postseason and tournament time, I think we've started 9 different pitchers on the season. We've had 7 pitchers close out the last, save opportunities. So, I just think we're getting even more looks now at some things, and things are starting to fall in place how we want them for the stretch run.
Coach, what do fans need to be looking for out of Marshall starting tomorrow at 2:00?
Out of Rice?
I mean Marshall. Yes. I got Marshall on the brain over the last weekend. What do fans need to look for starting tomorrow at 2:00 out of Rice?
It's another older lineup. It's another older group of guys that have a lot of Conference USA innings under their belt. They just took 3 on the road at UAB. Coach Braga is, really, really good coach that I've gotten to know really well the last year and a half. Great guy, really tough. He coached that Tennessee Tech team that won 50 some odd games, was in a super regional. So, they're playing their best ball right now. And we got a couple of guys, Cade Edwards and Bradley Needing, with that got legit juice that we're going to have to really make pitches against. That they field the ball well. I think it's going to boil down to really if we can limit our mistakes defensively, play clean ball, limit the free passes. And I think that one of the biggest thing offensively, I think if we can, stay in the strike zone and not get impatient out of the strike zone and make them come into the strike zone, then, I think, we'll be in the positions that we want to be in over the course of the games. If we get out of the strike zone and chase a little bit more, and we play defense more like games 1 and 2 last week versus 3 and 4, then we're going to have our work cut out for us.
Coach, it's been a few weeks since we asked you about an injury report. Is there anything you can tell us on that front this week?
Yeah, I mean, we're closer with McCabe. We're not gonna. We'll be without Dom this weekend, but we're closer to McCabe being back in there. We want to make sure. Anytime we bring a guy back from being on the DL, we just want to make sure he's ready. So we'll see how he feels tomorrow, and if it makes sense to get him in there, we will. If it doesn't, then we won't. So just kind of day to day now, which is a good thing because previously he was out, and we're getting closer.
I did notice that last weekend he had been wearing a boot. He's out of that, and he was moving around. Frankly, he was limping before, and that seems to have gone away. So he's getting around good. So everything looks good as far as that goes. And I think you're right. I mean, at this point in the season, I mean, it's what's coming next. That's what you want him for, right? I mean, that's the goal.
Yeah, there's just there's that fine line of making sure that you're putting guys in position to be successful, right? Like you don't want to put a guy in there that's not ready. And we have the great thing about our team is we have depth and we've got guys that are ready. And David McCabe's a special player. We all know that. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure he's okay. We want to make sure he's ready to get back in there, and we want to make sure that he is getting better and better versus, putting him in a position for a setback. So, we're getting closer. He's a big piece of the puzzle. We all know that.
They did. The schedule got moved around, so we are starting at 2:00 tomorrow. Jimmy Touchstone's chiming in. What's that, Kev?
Eastern time, right?
Yeah, 2 Eastern. Jimmy says that he has a 2:00 doctor's appointment on his Outlook calendar. I'm assuming he means he just put a doctor's appointment on his work calendar so that he can't be bothered. So Dr. Touchstone is in. I think that's what you mean, Jimmy. And Jimmy, if it means that you have if you have a doctor's appointment on your calendar, just cancel it. You look like a healthy guy. You'll be fine. but I think you're meaning that you've put one on your calendar. Let's see, Hutch. Oh, this is actually a good question. Hutch is raising a good point here. I'm assuming you're talking about the conference tournament, Hutch. What he wants to know, if you get to bring the entire team to Louisiana, or is there a travel roster?
Yeah, we have a travel roster for Conference USA and for the NCAA tournament.
Okay, so you've got a limited amount of roster spots to travel spots to go to, I'm assuming it's the same whether it's Rice or conference tournament. It's the same amount.
Right. Yeah, it's and because of COVID, it's 30.
30. Okay.
Hey, do you remember the time? I think it was ODU. We played. They had to forfeit a game because they played a guy that was not on their travel roster.
Yeah.
And they beat us. And then after the game, they had to forfeit because they didn't have a guy. He wasn't on the travel roster.
Yeah, I've heard that story.
Yeah, that was one of those things that happened. Yeah, that was
much more likely to happen when you're the home team, because you have everybody in the dugout, and then when you're on the road, we only leave campus with 30 players who are the 30 on the travel roster. So much more likely to have a slip up on something like that when you're at home.
And I think it was at ODU, I believe.
Yeah. So good question, Hutch. Hadn't thought about that. Great question. So let's see. You got 2 p.m. tomorrow, and Jimmy has confirmed he's put a doctor's appointment on his calendar for 2:00 tomorrow. So that's good. Saturday doubleheader starting at 2:00 again. So that second game somewhere in the neighborhood of 5:00, and then Sunday at 1. And I know it is going to be on Conference USA TV. They usually have pretty good setup at Rice for Conference USA TV, as I recall. So that should look good. If you've got a Conference USA TV subscription, you can listen to Sean for free, which I would suggest that even if you do have a Conference USA subscription and you watch the game, listen to Sean with it and then sync it up pretty close and then get Sean's call with them. No offense to the Rice broadcasters, but they're not going to tell you what you want to hear. So check out Sean along with the broadcast on Conference USA TV. So you mentioned this before, and I think this is going to be a case of you reiterating what you just said. You've called your key thing for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and you've been right every time. I think you went with clean defensive play again. Is that the key for this weekend? Is that what you're going with?
Yeah, I think that's really important. It trickles down. It almost cost us last weekend because it drove McGowan. McGowan, Bryce should have thrown 7 or 8 innings in his start, in my opinion. And with some defensive miscues, we probably gave him at least 3 more outs. And, so instead of him going 7 or 8, then we had to go to Marozas in the 7th, and then we had to go to Lothus in the 8th. And so we throw CeeLo the 8th and the 9th, where, we really should have probably only used 1 reliever for 1 inning. And, we were able to manage it over the course of the weekend, but, there's a big ripple effect, in my opinion, when as a team we don't, when we allow free bases, because our opponent batting average is low. I think it's the lowest in Conference USA, or at least it was. We strike out a lot of guys. I think we lead Conference USA in strikeouts. So it's tough to. Our pitching staff is proven to be tough to hit and tough to put in play. So if we can pitch in a manner in which we don't give them free bases, make them hit to beat us, and then when they do put the ball in play, we secure it, that's when we're at our best. And it's easier, of course a lot of teams are, but we're capable of pitching and pitching it and defending it at a higher level than maybe we have the last 2 weeks. So, yeah, if we do that better, I think good things will happen. And I think, again, I think I'm kind of looking here. I mean, I think Rice's pitchers have thrown 401 innings on the year, and they've punched out 380. And typically when a pitching staff is they don't walk a whole lot of guys, but when they, if they're punching out less than one an inning, typically that means that you're gonna have the ability to put the bat on the ball. Whereas I think we've punched out 60 or 70 more than innings pitched. So, I think if we can do a good job of not chasing out of the strike zone and waiting on good pitches to hit and being disciplined, then yeah, I think good things can happen. But Rice is playing a good brand of ball right now. I think they might be the 9th seed. I haven't really locked in on that, but I think they might be the 9th seed coming into the weekend. And I mean, this is their senior weekend. This is their last home weekend series. So, basically mentally and physically preparing for, dogfight tomorrow, 2 Saturday, and dogfight Sunday.
Well, we talked about this. This is actually what we were talking about right as you were coming in, Coach. Are you going to miss these 4-game weekends?
No, I'm not. I mean, I love I'm going to miss the fact that, we're in the dugout a lot with this group of guys, and that's fun. But 4 games, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. You start getting into student athlete welfare and the number of hours that we're at the field each day. It's a lot on these guys, and I give them so much credit for how they've held up and how they've competed. And there's been times where they've fallen behind in game 3 and they could have let up and they haven't. It's just it's a very resilient group of guys. But no, I think it'll be nice getting back to 3-game series if and when we can do
that. To your point, go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, I think it looked good on paper before the season, but after that first weekend, I was ready to move back to 3 games. But on the positive side, we did talk about. I think it's made Conference USA teams tougher for tournament play and regional play. So there's some positives for the 4-game weekends, but I'll be glad to be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's hard to deny. Our team seems to like the 4-game series. Just based off of how we've done to this up until this point. And it's hard to deny what Conference USA is doing as a league. I mean, we're looking like a 4-bid league, if not even 5. I mean, if a team like FAU or any others, win the conference tournament, then we could have 5 Conference USA teams in the NCAA tournament, and that's pretty cool. It's great.
Yeah, just in case fans were curious, what it does look like is Middle Tennessee right now would hold the 8th spot with 10 wins. FIU and Rice and UAB all have 9 wins. They have different losses because there's some games missing. So FIU is 9-17, Rice is 9-18-1, UAB is 9-19. But just going off the wins, you've got Middle Tennessee at 10, and then 3 schools at 9, 3 teams at 9. Middle and FIU are playing each other, I believe. So they're going to kind of, that's an interesting dynamic right there on the cutoff line. Rice obviously has us, and then UAB is in Huntington, hanging out at the YMCA this weekend. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic to watch all weekend long. In addition to what what's going on up at the top of the standings. So really, I mean, that kind of speaks to what you're talking about is the not only the quality of the league, but the depth of the league, because we've got one weekend left and there's really only one team out of it. I mean, as far as getting an opportunity to play for a championship, there's only one team that we know is not going to get a chance to play for championship. So there's a lot of teams that can put some wins together in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's I've enjoyed it. It's been really my first look at Conference USA, and I mean, geez, it's there are certainly some legit lineups and teams and some really good arms, and the coaches in the league, just having gone through COVID and almost weekly Zooms, it's been great getting to know those guys, and it's a really, really strong baseball league. I mean, there's no let up whatsoever. I mean, we very easily could have lost the first two games of our series last weekend. I mean, there's just, you've got to scratch and claw for everything you get.
Yeah. So, we talked a little bit about hosting scenarios. We're not going to get into that with you tonight or any of that good stuff. Let's play the weekend. We kicked that can around before you came in and talked about, not only did we talk about Gastonia, we talked about Guam as well. You'll have to go listen to the replay to find out what that means, but we did. Yeah. I think it's time to get Coach Woody like maybe some rest, because he's going to be on an abbreviated schedule tomorrow, getting to the ballpark. What time are you guys getting to the ballpark tomorrow?
I think we take BP at 11:30 Central Time, so we'll probably stretch at 11. We'll probably get to the ballpark at 10:40, 10:45. Yeah.
Wow, that's for a Friday. I mean, that's a pretty early schedule, but I know it'll be fun, especially now that exams are over, right?
Yeah, our guys are fired up. Our guys are excited just to play baseball. So it's a great time of year.
Well, I'm gonna add one more thing in here before we wrap this up. A little bit of Diamond Niners and Charlotte baseball trivia, if you will.
Okay.
10 years ago today, I believe we were playing 10 years ago today, and I think we were at Rhode Island. Is that right, Kevin? Were we at Rhode Island? Do you remember this?
That time was a little fuzzy to me.
That time was a little fuzzy. The reason that time's a little fuzzy is because 10 years ago today, I know we were playing because Kevin's oldest son, Dylan Harward, was born 10 years ago today, and the world found out about his arrival via Charlotte baseball radio broadcast, because Dylan Harward's birth was announced via Charlotte baseball radio broadcast. So that's why I know that was 10 years ago today. I'm pretty sure we were at Rhode Island. So Dylan, you better not be listening. You better be in bed, because it's 10 after 11, but happy birthday, buddy. 10 years old today, Dylan Harward. So pretty cool. Pretty cool deal. Now let's see. What is this here? Hey, okay, this is Sean. Sean Fox is chiming in. Has Woody ever been to Tony's? I'm assuming you mean Tony's ice cream in Gastonia, Sean. I think that's what he's asking about. Woody, have you ever been to Tony's ice cream in Gastonia? I think that's the question from Sean.
I haven't. I'll crush some Jenny's, but I haven't been to Tony's.
I gotta be honest with you. It's kind of an institution in my family. I mean, nice. It's kind of a Kevin, producer Brad, either one of y'all been to Tony's ice cream?
I have not.
But, I have not.
But I'm ready to try.
Hope to visit soon, though. Hope to visit soon.
Yeah. So, Sean, I'm pretty sure I got your question right, Sean. That I'm the only one here that's been to Tony's. I'm assuming Sean has. So, when we host in Gastonia, folks, you come over to Tony's and hang out with me and Sean and eat like butter pecan ice cream or cherry walnut or something like that. It's pretty good stuff. So we'll be doing that.
Man, I'm in on it.
You know what? If I'm at Tony's in the near future, you're going to be a bit busy. Well, I'll save you some. All right, Coach. Let's get you out of here. Give us your last thoughts. Give Niner Nation the last word on the series before we jump on Rice.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just again, I can't reiterate how special last weekend was for getting to honor our 2021 graduates and our 2021 seniors after everything that we missed, and they missed last year. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that we also, there's a few guys that were on last year's team that were, that moved on. Patrick Wheeler, for example, and Spencer Ard, for example, and Ethan Earhart and others, that were on previous, on the 2020 team that was canceled. And it was just so great seeing all of our players' families and seeing our players, our graduates, receive the recognition they deserved. I can't imagine being a college student going through the pandemic, but it does feel as though that we're coming out on the other side right now. And last weekend was a big part of that, getting to honor those guys and getting to, post game after Marshall left, being able to, take some photos with families and those types of things. Those moments are special. And I know our whole coach and staff really enjoyed and appreciated that. So we're very appreciative of all the families that made the effort to be there. And for those who couldn't, hopefully can be there next weekend when we play Wilmington.
All right. And that was Sean says that we'll do post-game press conferences at Tony's Ice Cream. So
I'm all for it.
That's a way to combine it all. So, okay, good deal. You're on, Sean. We're there. All right, folks. That's going to do it for us. It's time to go jump on Rice. Don't forget, we love hearing from you, which you folks are getting really good about getting questions to us. Heck, you're getting your questions to us in the stands, particularly if somebody is sticking their hand down their pants. That gets your attention, apparently. So we love hearing from you guys. Feel free to reach out, social media, in person, in the stands, et cetera, et cetera. Let's keep this thing called Niner Baseball going. Big weekend. All right, folks, we're out. Time for a 4-game series. Time to go clinch a championship. How about that, folks? Let's go get that done this weekend. So until next time, we'll see you guys at the Hayes.
Go Nine.